As an AOR client, we're going to be having local counsel on your case. What does that even mean? Stay tuned. We'll break it down for you. This is attorney Andy Marcantel and attorney Marc J. Victor. We are the partners at the Attorneys for Freedom Law Firm here today to make a video to answer some questions that we've been getting about how Pro Hac Vice admission and local counsel work. How you doing, Marc?
I'm fine, man. I'm always good. Every day is a good day.
Every day above ground, my friend.
I don't have any bad days. No. And neither should anybody else, by the way. So, people ask, hey, you guys are licensed in Arizona. That's great, but I'm in a different state. How does this local counsel thing work? What if I don't know anybody? That's really what this video is about.
That's right. So, as part of representing people all over the United States, we've talked about this in many of our videos. We go through a process called Pro Hac Vice. And what that means is we get admitted in that state just for that case that we're handling. And part of that process is we need to get a local counsel or a local attorney to get on board in the case.
Yeah, people don't really understand Pro Hac Vice.
Right.
First of all 50 states have rules for Pro Hac Vice that allow out-of-state counsel to appear essentially for one case in that state. We've got the rules for all 50 states. Of course, we're licensed in Arizona, so we only need 49. We've got the rules. We know the requirements. We've appeared many times in many different states. We've never had a problem. In our fee agreement, we identify a case that the United States Supreme Court decided, the Gonzalez case, where essentially the court said, look, you got a right under the Sixth Amendment to counsel of your choice, and the local court can't just deny Pro Hac Vice application because they just want to benefit local counsel, not out-of-state counsel. It can be entirely reversible error if they don't. I've never even heard of an attorney not being allowed to appear Pro Hac Vice. It's not something that we worry about. We see it as a major opportunity to improve the team.
Absolutely. And it's something that happens very early on and actually very quickly in the case. When we get a call about an emergency incident or self-defense incident, we want to get a Pro Hac Vice counsel on right away. And typically at that point, what we do is we advise them in that emergency situation. And the rules are very clear on this. Even if we aren't licensed in a state in that moment when we get that emergency call, there are emergency exceptions in the ethics rules about what a lawyer can do. So we can walk them through how to handle that emergency and navigate them through that. But then the big next hearing is coming up, and it's an important hearing called a release hearing, also called an initial appearance, and this is where we need that local counsel to be ready to fight.
Yeah, and AOR clients on the emergency information form that they get right when they sign up in their portal, if they have local counsel who they say either, hey, Marc, I've used this person before, I really like this person, or by reputation, I know a local counsel, I really prefer to have this person on my case. It's who I would choose if I could hire anybody to represent me locally. Put that name on the form. A lot of people say, look, Marc, I have no idea. I don't know who the local counsel is. Okay, well, in that case, don't put anybody on the form. That's not a bad thing. In fact, I like that because I like to pick the local counsel because I've been doing this 30 plus years. And you know this too, Andy. We've been on the phone with local counsel on many occasions. What'd you say, 10 minutes?
We can usually figure out pretty quick if this is a good attorney.
10 minutes it'll take me to figure out if I got a real criminal defense attorney on the phone or not. We start asking questions. I make an analogy here to talking to another Marine. Every Marine out there knows whether you're talking to a real Marine who went to boot camp or somebody who's pretending to have gone to boot camp. You just can't fake it. It's the kind of thing, there's a culture, there's a language, there's an attitude. We know if we're talking to someone who served in the Marine Corps, it's the same thing for other criminal defense lawyers. If you're somebody who dabbles, you do some divorce, some personal injury, you do a little bit of criminal, handled some DUIs or something, and we're talking about a serious case, we can smoke that out pretty fast. We can also tell pretty fast if they're asking the right questions, if they're analyzing the case quickly. Like I say, 10 minutes on the phone with another attorney, you and I know. In fact, we've got other cases going on right now where we've interviewed local attorney, and you and I have both been on the phone, and we've said to each other, yeah, this guy's the real deal.
This guy's the real deal, or maybe we need to interview somebody else, which we're happy to do.
Sometimes we do that as well.
And that's another thing that I was going to point out is that just being a good attorney isn't the end of the conversation. Right. They've got to be a good attorney that can actually bring something to the team. There's that. Then there's availability, right? Because even good attorneys, say a client has a good attorney picked out that they like as their local counsel. The question is that person going to be available to the extent that we need them to be available in order to effectively represent that client?
I'm glad you brought this up because people sometimes say, Mark, send me a list of the local attorneys you have in my state. Okay, we don't have any such list for a good reason. Imagine, you're in the state of Texas, right? We have a lawyer in Texas. Texas is a big place. Are you in Dallas? Are you in Houston? Are you in Austin? Are you somewhere else? I mean, we would literally need a local attorney ready to go in every little local community. And then even if we did do that, like you say, how do we know that person's available? How do we know that person's still in business? How do we know that person's not on vacation? We don't know any of that. So it's really much better. If you don't have somebody who you really like, let us decide. Part of the strike force, and we talked about this in another video, part of the duties of the strike force is to narrow down the field for us. They know exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah,
right?
and when we say the strike force, we are talking about that group that hops into action in the event of an emergency shooting. When you're calling the phone, you're speaking to a lawyer, and then we turn it over to the strike force. If you haven't seen the video on that, check out the link below.
Yeah, we'll put a link in this video. But the strike force knows what we're looking for, which isn't confusing, right? We're looking for hardcore, I like to say, real criminal defense lawyer, not somebody who dabbles, a true believer, somebody with the right attitude who feels the way we feel about the presumption of innocence, about making the state prove every aspect of that charge beyond a reasonable doubt. And we want somebody who's pro-Second Amendment, somebody who feels the way we feel about the right of self-defense, and somebody maybe who's pro-freedom, somebody who aligns nicely with the values that we bring to the case as well. That's what we're looking for. So they narrow it down. They say, hey, Mark, here are some names, people available. They can go right now, and here's why we like them. We get on the phone. We make calls. We're going to select the best local counsel for the team. Why? Because we want to win. We want an all-star team. If we're going to bring someone to the team, let's bring somebody who can add something. Okay, there are some obvious things we need. Who's the judge? Who's the prosecutor? What are they about? Are there some local rules? Sometimes there's some differences in language. There might be some particular ways to file things in the local court. Fine, bring that stuff. But if we can get somebody who can bring a real criminal defense attorney mind to the case, to brainstorm that case, to try to search for issues on the case, creative defenses, creative motions. Absolutely. Let's get the best person we can possibly get on the team. We're playing to win. We're not confused about the fact that people sign up in attorneys on retainer because they want an aggressive, professional defense on their team. We can't bring some flunky defense to the case. People aren't going to stay in the AOR program. Right. That's not what we're about.
It rises and falls on the merits of how we do for our clients.
That's right. We're not.
How about that? How about that as an incentive for any of these other programs? You don't see that in any of these other programs.
Yeah, we're not confused about what makes AOR a success. It's not that we're able to sign people up in a nice way. It's that when they call that emergency line, we can deliver. We can make it happen. This is what every member of our law firm knows. When that phone rings and it's an emergency call, we got to jump into action. And if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, then it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And our team is actually excited about that. That's what we do. We call them the late night freedom fights.
Late night freedom fights.
Yeah, we're on the case. And so if we can get an all-star member from the local community on our team, we want the best possible local attorney we can get on that team because we're playing to win.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of advantages, as you pointed out, to having a lawyer who's very kind of close to that local community, understands how everything works. And as you said, we're looking for an all-star team. We might even be getting experts down the line from that community who know the judges and everything like that. It's about the team that we build to bring that powerful defense. So, yeah, all very good points. And also, here's another thing that's come up a few times. The lawyer that we start out with that initial appearance is subject to change.
That's right.
We reserve the right to change the lawyer, bring in additional local lawyers, whatever it takes in order to make sure that we have the absolute best defense for a client.
Yeah, I think it's really funny that, some of the other competing programs out there say, well, don't use attorneys on retainer. Why would you bring an Arizona lawyer who's in Arizona out to our state to do the case? Yeah, sure. Until they realize what we're actually doing. Why not get the best of both worlds, right? Get the best possible local attorney on the team, as well as the Attorneys for Freedom law firm. That's what you want, right? You want the all-star team who's going to come out there and do their very best. Now, look, we don't want to over-promise on the case because I can't guarantee what the results are going to be, right? We don't know what the facts are. What we do promise is we are going to give the very best defense possible. I don't know what the facts are, right? Sometimes the facts are terrible. We get cases sometimes when it's like, oh my God, this person really screwed the pooch on this one. It doesn't affect the fact that we're still going to fight as hard as possible to get the best result.
And importantly, it doesn't affect the fact whether or not we're legally able to cover that client, which we can't say for all of our other competitors who, if it turns out you screwed the pooch, oh, sorry, disclaimer of coverage, no problem.
Yeah, we don't exclude criminal acts, right? We defend, that's what I've been doing for 30 plus years, defending people who commit crimes. So it doesn't have to be a valid act of self-defense. In fact, that's what our team does. We got criminal defense attorneys at our firm who are here because they like to be criminal defense lawyers. So rather than trying to find some exclusion to deny a claim, we're looking for reasons to get our team into action. It's like sitting around and doing lots of training. You want to get into the game. When the big show comes, you want to go and fight the fight. And that's what our group, I sometimes refer to them as the wild pack of wolves, because that's what our team wants to do. In fact, that's how we handle every case at our firm. Every criminal defense lawyer at our firm is in on every criminal defense case at our firm. We meet at least once a month with every lawyer and we powwow on the facts of every case.
Absolutely. And obviously, every single dime of those attorneys' fees for our local counsel is completely 100% covered by attorneys on retainer, as long as it's an applicable shoot, right? As long as it fits those simple 3 criteria. It was an act of self-defense. We can in good faith argue self-defense, even if it turns out to not be valid self-defense. As long as we can argue self-defense, no problem. As long as we're either charged with a crime here in terms of a felony or a misdemeanor, or are anticipating a charge is coming, that's fine. And as long as it occurred, obviously, after the person signed up for attorneys on retainer. You check those 3 boxes, everything's paid for, including the local counsel.
People sometimes, they write me and they say, Mark, how can you afford to do this? I mean, it could be $200,000 for the lawyer to defend the case, and they don't understand our business model. All of our lawyers are on salary. I don't have to write, unlike the insurance company-based plans.
We're not writing a check, right?
Yes, I don't have to. It's different when you're writing the check for the lawyer and you're paying retail for that. Even the companies that say we got our own contracted lawyer, okay, they're paying discounted amounts, but we're not paying anything other than the regular salary that's on our payroll. It's just we walk in and we say, hey, we got another case. They say, great, let's do it. Literally, for us to do a first-degree murder, it's going to take attorney time, that's true, but we don't have to write a check for attorney's fees because we're doing the case ourselves. Yes, we do have to come out of pocket for the amount to pay the local attorney and some of the other
incidentals, things like that.
We do.
Scene cleanup, mental health counseling, firearm replacement.
We got lots of people paying $25 or $35 a month. That easily covers that. Look, if it didn't make sense, if it wasn't a win financially for our firm, we wouldn't be doing it. That's the nature of this program. It's a win for our firm, and it's a win for our clients. We don't do any deals at our firm unless they're win-win for everybody involved.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that breakdown of it. We've been getting some questions on how it works. If we didn't address your question, make sure to throw a comment down below. We will definitely respond to it. In the meantime, check out attorneysonretainer.us to learn more about this program and what it can do for you. And don't forget to check out attorneysforfreedom.com to learn about our law firm. Who are you getting here, right? Because as we pointed out earlier, the success or failure of this program rises or falls depending upon the job that we do as your attorney. So if you want to get to know us and what types of cases we take and what our philosophy is that we bring to the table in and out of the courtroom, attorneysforfreedom.com. Mark, any last thoughts before we go?
Yeah, do your homework. I mean, check out every plan, check out
what we've been urging nonstop, and just every subject. It's like, read the contract, do your homework, look what our opponents are offering in the market.
Maybe we'll put a link in this video. I did a critique of the Attorneys on Retainer program with as much vigor as I critique every other program. It has some weak points. We put them out there. We're very transparent. Get to know what our program is. Get to know what the other programs are. Make an informed decision.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Until next time, this has been Attorney Andy Marcantel and Attorney Marc J. Victor.
Peace.